The chosen ones are not just individuals who manage to escape. They are the ones who broke free from the shackles of expectations, leveled up, and rewrote their own story. In doing so, they defied lovers who once doubted their worth, family members who underestimated their potential, and friends who tried to hold them back. Their freedom is not merely an exit. It is a revolution. They didn't just leave a toxic situation. They shattered illusions, tore down the control games, and emerged as a force that others could not ignore or replicate. Their very presence became a light so bright that it became the envy of those who could no longer wield power over them. The moment they chose to walk away, they shook the very foundations that others had built around them. To their manipulators, they had been seen as a fixed point, a resource to draw from endlessly, a lifeline that would never be severed. But with one decisive act, the chosen ones demonstrated a strength and clarity that no one saw coming. Their departure didn't just signify leaving. It collapsed an entire structure, one that had been meticulously built over years. The shockwaves of their freedom weren't small tremors. They roared through the lives of those who thought they had control, leaving them to scramble and adjust their reality without the anchor they believed would never be removed. Those who once thought they had the power to control, to guilt-trip, and to manipulate, failed to recognize the depth of the chosen one's courage. They tried to trap them in cycles of obligation, relying on loyalty, love, and history, but they underestimated the clarity of vision and strength within. When they saw the games, when they felt the weight of the manipulation, they made the ultimate choice themselves. And with that choice, they not only broke free, they shattered the false reality their controllers had carefully constructed around them. The reactions from those left behind were chaotic. Some were stunned into disbelief, others in denial, anger, and confusion. For a select few, the absence of the chosen one was the mirror they had long avoided, forcing them to confront their own manipulation, dependency, and unaddressed flaws. Others, however, were consumed by envy, unable to comprehend how the one they thought they owned had found the strength to break free. Some attempted to mimic the chosen one's independence, trying to replicate their strength, but their efforts were hollow, lacking the authenticity, passion, and fire that powered the true escape. The greatest shock wasn't that the chosen one left. It was that they thrived. Those who had relied on them expected a return, an apology, a defeat. They assumed that once the difficulties of standing alone set in, the chosen one would crawl back. But instead they grew. They reclaimed their energy, their time, their worth. They became untouchable. And in doing so, they revealed a fundamental truth. They were never meant to be controlled, manipulated, or molded. They were always destined for more. In the wake of their absence, those left behind seethed with envy. They envied the peace the chosen one had found, the clarity they now possessed, and the confidence that seemed to radiate from them. These former manipulators replayed every conversation, dissecting every decision, searching for clues as to what made the chosen one so resilient, something they lacked but longed to understand. For some, this envy became a painful reflection of their own shortcomings. For others, it transformed into bitterness, a desperate attempt to invalidate the growth of someone they had once thought they could control. But the truth was undeniable. The chosen one had reclaimed the narrative, and in doing so had become their reckoning. While those who sought to control remained trapped in their cycles of manipulation and dependency, the chosen ones rose beyond their reach. Their departure wasn't just a statement. It was a thunderous declaration that resonated far beyond their personal freedom. It became a seismic event, shaking the very foundations of those who had tried to hold them down. Breaking free was never just about escaping toxic relationships. It was about reclaiming every part of themselves that had been diminished, untangling years of manipulation, and refusing to let anyone define them. The ones who tried to hold them back didn't see it coming. They underestimated the quiet storm within, assuming compliance, approval-seeking, and peacekeeping would keep the chosen one in line. But when they chose themselves, everything changed. The power dynamic shifted, and the system that had relied on their energy began to crumble. As their manipulative tactics lost their power, the chosen one walked away with strength, carving a path that left their former controllers questioning everything they once believed about dependency, control, and identity. In their envy, they tried to replicate the journey, mimicking steps that were foreign to them. Yet, their attempts were shallow and ultimately hollow. They could never understand what made the chosen one truly free, because freedom wasn't an action. It was a decision. A decision to dismantle everything that defined them, a refusal to be shaped by anyone else's will. This failure to understand only fueled their frustration. Ultimately, those who once held the chosen one in their web of control regretted losing them, but not because they valued them. They regretted it because they failed to see their worth and assumed their presence was guaranteed. Now that they are gone, they are left with an empty space, a void that no one else can fill, and they are confronted by the limits of their own control. They had woven a web around the chosen one, each thread carefully designed to keep them bound. But now, with the threads severed, they are left to face the unraveling of their own reality. Born not merely from rebellion, but from a deep clarity of self-awareness and an uncompromising devotion to your soul, your journey is one of profound transformation. While others may attempt to replicate your path, hoping to gain the same freedom without the necessary inner work, they will only encounter frustration. Their efforts crumble under the weight of inauthenticity, and no amount of mimicry can provide them with the same results. Your freedom is not an act of defiance. It is the manifestation of your deepest truth, and those who try to follow in your footsteps without understanding the work you've done will always fall short. For others, your freedom triggers something far deeper: shame. Though they seldom acknowledge it, when they look at you, they are confronted by the person they could have become if only they had made different choices. Your independence forces them to confront every opportunity they squandered, every fear they allowed to hold them back. It is not your responsibility to heal their wounds or carry their regrets. Your only task is to continue moving forward, unwavering and unaffected. Your freedom stands as a mirror they cannot escape, offering a reflection that will either break them or propel them toward change. Either way, your rise serves as undeniable proof that greatness is not a privilege, but a choice. If your success forces them to face their own shortcomings, let them deal with their discomfort. It is not for you to carry. Keep rising, keep reflecting. When you walked away, it wasn't just an act of defiance. It was the beginning of a profound transformation. By severing the ties that drained your spirit, you created the space for your true self to emerge. Leaving was not a sign of weakness. It was a moment of awakening. The clarity you now possess didn't come from external validation, but from the silence that followed. When the noise of manipulation, guilt, and dependency ceased, you heard your own voice for the first time, raw, unfiltered, and guiding you toward the life you were meant to live. Your spiritual growth didn't come from seeking approval but from rejecting it entirely. By choosing to break free, you dismantled every narrative that told you to stay small, to conform, to bear the weight of others' expectations. What followed was a peace so profound it almost felt foreign, a stillness that allowed you to see yourself without distortion. In that quiet, you uncovered your power, your worth, and the boundless potential they had tried so desperately to suppress. But your escape didn't just transform you, it created ripples in the lives of those around you. They see your liberation and feel the weight of it. Some begin to question their own patterns, their own cages, because your freedom proves that leaving is not just possible, it is necessary. Others, however, feel threatened by the mirror your growth holds up to their stagnation. Whether they resist or reflect, your decision has become a force they cannot ignore. Envy, in this case, is not a passing feeling. It is a force that exposes the depths of their inner turmoil. When they look at you, free, untouchable, they do not just see your success. They see everything they are not. Your liberation highlights their stagnation. Your authenticity exposes their facades, and your courage mocks their fear. Envy festers because your story reminds them of everything they chose not to face. They had the same opportunities to rise, but they chose comfort over growth, control over truth, and illusion over freedom. They try to mimic your path, hoping that, by copying your external actions, they will achieve the same results. They adopt the language of independence, the posture of confidence, but it never lands. Their attempts fall flat because they are rooted in imitation, not in transformation. They don't understand that your growth didn't come from playing a role. It came from dismantling every false identity that had been imposed on you. They want the rewards without the sacrifice, the freedom without the fire, and it burns them to see you thriving in ways they cannot replicate. Their envy drives them to undermine you, to claw at the foundation of your progress. They spread doubt, questioning your motives, your authenticity, and your success. They try to rewrite your narrative, casting themselves as victims of your ascent or framing your rise as a mere fluke. But their words and actions are desperate attempts to pull you back to their level, to reassert the power they lost when you broke free. Yet, their envy is also a teacher, signaling that not everyone who watches your rise is celebrating it. Some study your every move, not to understand, but to find weakness. They wait for cracks, hoping for a moment to strike, to discredit, to drag you back down. But you must protect your energy, your boundaries, and your truth with the same intensity that carried you out of their reach in the first place. Their attempts to undermine you will fail, not because they lack effort, but because they lack authenticity. They cannot destroy what has been built from the deepest parts of your soul. Your freedom is a force of nature, unyielding and unapologetic. Let their envy fuel your resolve, serving as a reminder of the distance you've traveled and the strength you've cultivated. You owe them no explanations, no justifications. Their envy is theirs to bear, a reflection of everything they refuse to confront within themselves. As you continue to rise, let your success be a testament to the power of choosing yourself, to the courage of breaking free from what once held you back, and to the unwavering belief that greatness was never a privilege, it was always your choice. Their own choices and limitations are theirs to face, and they will stay vigilant, but they must remain unbothered. The truth is simple. They cannot replicate what they do not understand, and they cannot touch what they fear. Your rise is proof that their control was never truly real, and now, neither is their relevance. Let their envy remain the shadow to your light, forever chasing but never able to catch up. Keep rising, keep shining, for they can only stand by and watch. Walking away is never as simple as it seems. It carries with it a weight that few can understand unless they've carried it themselves. When you leave, you don't just leave behind people. You leave pieces of yourself that you once freely gave away, your loyalty, your love, your energy. These bonds you severed were not superficial. They were forged over time, built on shared history, trust, and moments of vulnerability. But even the strongest bonds, when not nurtured, become chains that bind you. To leave, to break free, meant shattering those chains, even as they tore at your heart. Nostalgia is a powerful thing. It whispers lies, tempting you to turn back by reminding you of better times, fleeting moments of laughter, or those brief but seemingly genuine connections. Guilt creeps in, questioning your decision. Was it too harsh? Were you too selfish? Too unwilling to compromise? But deep down, you know the truth. Staying would have meant sacrificing yourself to preserve memories that were not as real as they seemed. You would have clung to fragments, all while your spirit crumbled beneath the weight of their demands. The pain of walking away is undeniable, but so is the clarity that follows. Walking away wasn't about abandoning them, it was about choosing you. It was about accepting that some connections, no matter how painful to leave behind, were slowly draining your light, suffocating your growth, and keeping you small. The sacrifices you made were not losses, they were exchanges. You gave up the familiar to gain the infinite. You let go of their expectations to embrace your freedom. Liberation always demands a price, and you paid it. You paid with your tears, your doubts, your longing. But the reward was yourself. Unbound, unstoppable. Now, you walk alone not because you have to, but because you choose to. The path of the lone wolf is not one of isolation. It is one of mastery. Solitude has sharpened you, teaching you lessons that the noise of the crowd drowned out. You have learned to listen to your instincts, to trust your inner voice, and to rely on your own strength. There is a certain power in moving through the world untethered, unburdened by the expectations of others. Your independence is not a retreat, but a declaration that your freedom is non-negotiable. The lone wolf is feared not because they walk alone, but because they are whole. Others look at your solitude and mistake it for loneliness, but they cannot deny the power you exude. They fail to understand that your choice to walk alone is rooted in self-respect, a refusal to accept anything that doesn't align with your truth. Your freedom unsettles them because it challenges their dependence on external validation. Your strength exposes the hollow places within them where their own power should reside. And yet, your presence fascinates them. They watch you, drawn to the mystique of someone who thrives beyond their grasp. They wonder how you find peace in your silence, how you grow stronger without their approval. Simple, really. Your solitude is not emptiness. It is sovereignty. Your power flourishes in the quiet places where others fear to tread. Let them wonder. You've already proven that the lone wolf fears nothing, not even themselves. Your absence is more powerful than your presence ever was. It forces those you left behind to confront the void you once filled. They can no longer ignore the spaces you occupied, the energy you gave, the loyalty, the effort, and now they must face the truth of how they mishandled it. For some, regret takes root. They replay every conversation, every word, every action, and realize too late what they lost. Their guilt becomes a weight they cannot escape, a constant reminder of their failure to value you when they had the chance. But not all reflections lead to growth. For others, bitterness rises to the surface, a shield against the shame of their own shortcomings. They double down on their narratives, casting you as the villain to justify their behavior. They cling to the belief that your departure was the problem, refusing to acknowledge the cycles of manipulation, neglect, or envy they perpetuated. Their denial doesn't change the truth. It only traps them in the very stagnation you once escaped. Your growth is a ripple, reaching out to touch everything. They see you thriving, and they are forced to reckon with the fact that their hold on you was never as strong as they believed. The power they thought they had over you has vanished, and they are left to face the consequences of their own actions. Your rise has made one thing abundantly clear. You are no longer their source of validation, and they can never undo what they've lost. Your transformation is more than just a personal achievement. It is a powerful statement. To those who once believed your success was tied to their presence, you've shown them that their influence was never as vital as they thought. Some, perhaps quietly and with hidden intentions, will try to mimic your steps, hoping to taste even a fraction of the freedom you have so courageously claimed. But no imitation can replicate the depth of your journey. Others, consumed by resentment and pride, will resist the truth of your rise, unable to admit that they, in fact, were the architects of their own limitations. They built the walls around themselves, and now your freedom has exposed the cracks in their fortress. But the reality is clear. Your reactions to them no longer matter. Their doubts, their envy, and their refusal to acknowledge your transformation do not change the undeniable truth of your growth. You are no longer just someone who escaped. You are someone who ascended. You defied every boundary they ever tried to place upon you. And when you chose to leave, you did so with unparalleled boldness. You didn't simply step away. You carved a path that shook the very foundation of their control, forcing them to face the strength they never thought you possessed. They underestimated your resilience, never realizing the fire that was steadily building within you, waiting for the moment to ignite. Now, as you stand confidently in your power, you are not a fleeting memory. You are an unstoppable force. Your freedom is no longer just for yourself. It has become a message to anyone still trapped by the chains of fear, manipulation, or societal expectations. By choosing yourself, you have shown that liberation is not just a distant dream. It is a tangible reality that requires courage, clarity, and conviction. You have become a testament to the unyielding human spirit, an example of what it means to refuse anything that does not resonate with your truth. Your light disrupts the darkness, inspires those who feel lost, and demands the kind of acknowledgement even those who wish to deny you cannot ignore. The whispers of doubt, envy, or regret will fade into nothingness as you continue to rise. You no longer have to defend your growth. It speaks for itself. Keep moving forward, unapologetically free, unbound, and unshaken. Let the world wonder, let them watch, but they will not be able to stop the momentum you have created. Your story is powerful and it matters. Share your truth, your struggles, your victories, the highs and lows of your journey. Your words will be the spark that ignites others, reminding them that freedom is not only within reach, it is their birthright. Let them hear your voice, witness your strength, and know that the path you have walked is not just your own. It is a clarion call for others to awaken to their own power. Keep shining, lone wolf. The world needs your light, your fire, your unwavering truth. The chosen ones have always known that they were destined for something greater. While others may have underestimated them, the time has come when they are finally on top of it. You may be reading this right now, and it is no accident. Something powerful is unfolding in your life, something that will bring about a shift so profound, it may even shock you. You are transitioning from a state of wanting to a state of having. Yes, you read that correctly. The very things you have been praying for, hoping for, and waiting for are no longer just distant dreams. They are already beginning to manifest in your reality. This is not merely a shift in mindset. It is a profound spiritual and energetic transformation that will soon take hold of every aspect of your life. As a chosen one, you will begin to witness things fall into place in ways that are so fast and so profound that they will leave you speechless. But to fully align with this transformation, you must understand how it works, how you can tap into this energy and walk confidently into the full manifestation of your desires. This moment is a gift, an opportunity that few ever get to experience. If you're here, it is because you were meant to receive this message. So before we dive deeper, take a moment to pause and make 3 small gestures. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel to help us reach 20,000 subscribers, and leave a comment with the number 11. This simple act will send a powerful signal to the universe, amplifying the energy of this message. Now, as we move forward, understand that your life is about to change in ways you can't yet imagine. The truth, which many have tried to hide, is about to be revealed, and you will stand at the forefront of this revelation. In a world filled with deceit, where lies are told for comfort or convenience, the power of truth is an unstoppable force. People may choose to cling to false narratives because they are easier to digest, but the truth, no matter how uncomfortable, refuses to bend or hide. It does not care about popularity or comfort, it simply stands firm. Those who speak the truth often face the harshest resistance because the truth disrupts the status quo. But it is this very power that will ultimately reshape everything. The chosen ones are not just bearers of this truth. They are the very pillars upon which the future will be built. While others may mock, dismiss, or misunderstand them, the chosen ones carry a clarity that others will eventually have no choice but to acknowledge. This clarity is not just a gift, it is a responsibility. And although it can feel burdensome, it is the kind of power that will ultimately shine when the falsehoods around them crumble. The moment is coming when the world will no longer be able to deny what the chosen ones have always known. As the lies fall apart, the truth will rise like the dawn, unburdened by denial. Those who tried to suppress it will be forced to confront it. The chosen ones will remain unshaken, standing strong as the storm of deception passes. Do you remember the times when people laughed at you? When they mocked your ideas, dismissed your clarity as foolishness, and refused to listen? It was painful, no doubt, but it was also necessary. You were ahead of your time, and those who couldn't see it had to resort to mocking you in order to protect their fragile egos. Now, however, the tide has shifted. The same people who once scorned you are beginning to turn back, unsure of how to admit that they were wrong. Instead of confronting their mistakes, they begin to probe for the very answers they once ridiculed. This shift may feel bittersweet. On one hand, you feel vindicated, but on the other, you realize that your purpose was never to prove anyone wrong. It was never about being right. It was always about helping others see the truth you already knew. Your goal was never to seek recognition or validation from those who dismissed you. All you ever wanted was for the world to understand before it was too late. And now, as reality begins to crash down on those who rejected you, they will see the truth you have carried all along. The power of your foresight, the depth of your understanding, it's undeniable now. They may never openly admit it, but deep down they know you were right. The mockery is fading, replaced by a quiet recognition. But for you, the chosen one, it's not about receiving their acknowledgement. It's about standing firm in your truth, knowing that the reality you've always seen is now becoming clear to those who once doubted you. Living ahead of the curve is not an easy path. It's often a lonely one, filled with moments of doubt, confusion, and frustration. You see things that others cannot, and you feel the weight of knowing what's coming while the world around you remains blind. You stand still, watching the world rush forward, lost in its ignorance, while you patiently prepare for what you know is inevitable. That is the price of clarity. It is both a gift and a curse, the ability to see beyond the surface, to understand the bigger picture while others are lost in the details. In a world obsessed with instant gratification, being ahead means making decisions that may seem illogical in the present. It means trusting in what you see, even when no one else can. While others rush toward fleeting wins and distractions, you quietly prepare for the long game. You understand that true power is not in rushing. It is in strategy, patience, and knowing when the time is right. As the world begins to catch up to you, you stand tall, knowing that the decisions you made, the risks you took, and the path you walked were never mistakes. They were all part of a greater plan that only you could see. You were always ahead, and now, as others begin to recognize your foresight, you stand at the top. Not as a conqueror, but as a quiet observer of the reality you always knew would unfold. Sometimes the hardest part of being a chosen one is the rejection you face from others. It's not that they don't see the truth in your words. It's that the truth is too uncomfortable for them to accept. People fear clarity because it demands change. It forces them to confront the lies they've based their lives on, and that is a terrifying prospect. It's easier for them to reject clarity than to face the uncomfortable truth. So, they turn away from you, dismissing your wisdom as radical or extreme, holding onto their illusions for comfort. But what they fail to understand is that clarity is not a threat. It is a gift. It is the ability to see things as they truly are without distortion. It's the freedom to make decisions based on truth rather than fear. While they remain blinded by denial, you stand in the light of reality, knowing that in the end, your clarity will set you free. You don't need anyone's approval, because the truth you carry does not need validation. It simply waits for those who are willing to see it. The rejection of clarity is only temporary. Sooner or later, the truth will break through, and those who rejected you will seek the wisdom you've always had, knowing that you held the key to the truth they refused to face. In a world filled with noise, silence is a weapon. The chosen ones understand this. Silence is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of strategy. While others rush to speak, to defend, or to prove their worth, the chosen ones remain still. They understand that sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is nothing at all. In their silence, there is clarity, patience, and strength. They don't need to explain themselves because their actions speak louder than words. When the world demands answers, the chosen ones wait. They don't rush to respond because they know the truth will reveal itself in time. Their silence is not indifference. It is confidence. It is the calm before the storm, the unwavering certainty that the truth will stand, no matter how loud the world becomes. When the moment comes, and it will come, when the truth is finally undeniable, the silence of the chosen ones will speak louder than any words ever could. As carefully crafted illusions begin to disintegrate, the reality you have always known emerges into the light. For those who are the chosen ones, this is the moment of reckoning. A time when the world that once dismissed your wisdom and rejected your clarity is forced to confront the undeniable truth. The winds of change have shifted, and what was once veiled in mystery is now laid bare for all to see. Those who mocked you, belittled your insights, and questioned your judgment are now scrambling to make sense of what they are witnessing. But for you, this moment is not a surprise. It's a moment you've been quietly preparing for. While the world busied itself with distractions and illusions, you stood firm, holding the truth close to your heart, knowing that, in time, everything would align. Now, as the lies unravel and false narratives dissolve, you remain unshaken, standing tall in the very truth that others fought so hard to deny. You've weathered the storm, and now you are the one others turn to for guidance. The reckoning has arrived, but this is not a moment of gloating. It is a moment of quiet reflection. You didn't walk this path for recognition or praise. You walked it because you believed in something much bigger than yourself, something that transcended personal gain. Now, as the world begins to wake up to the reality you always saw, you understand that this reckoning is not just for you. It is for everyone. It is the moment when clarity prevails, and the truth, long obscured, shows up uninvited but entirely necessary. Lies have an uncanny ability to spread like wildfire, slithering into the darkest corners of society, taking root in places where truth is hard to find. However, what lies cannot do is endure. Like fragile glass, they may sparkle and shine for a fleeting moment, but they will always collapse under the weight of their own falseness. The truth, in contrast, is the solid foundation that stands the test of time. As the world has come to know, lies are only temporary. They are built on shifting sands and will ultimately unravel, exposing their true nature. When that inevitable moment arrives, the truth remains steady, unwavering, and resolute. For the chosen ones, watching these lies crumble is both painful and liberating. It was never easy to carry the burden of knowing what was true when others were content living in their comfortable illusions. But now, as the lies disintegrate, you can see the pieces of the world falling into place. The truth you have held on to for so long is finally being revealed for all to see. You were never wrong. You never wavered. You knew that time would eventually catch up to the lies. And now, as those falsehoods crumble, the truth stands strong. The collapse of lies is a powerful reminder of the resilience of truth. It teaches us that no matter how loud the lies may scream, the quiet strength of truth is what endures. When the dust settles and the last remnants of deception are swept away, it is the chosen ones who will stand at the forefront, proudly bearing the truth they've carried all along. The world must finally acknowledge it, because the truth cannot be denied. There was a time when you were invisible. You spoke, you warned, you shared your wisdom, but no one listened. The world ignored you, dismissing your insights as irrelevant noise in the background of their busy lives. You were too ahead of your time, too far out of their reach for them to truly understand. But now, the world can no longer afford to ignore you. They have finally realized that you were right all along. The lessons you taught, the wisdom you shared, it's all coming back into focus. They can no longer deny what they once chose to overlook. It's an interesting feeling, isn't it? To go from being overlooked and dismissed to suddenly becoming the person everyone turns to for guidance. Yet, for the chosen ones, this shift is not about pride or vindication. It's about the recognition of truth, something you've known all along. You didn't speak out to be seen. You spoke to make a difference, to guide others toward understanding. Now, as the world awakens to what you've always known, there is a quiet satisfaction in knowing that your efforts were not in vain. The fact that they have finally realized speaks volumes about the nature of truth. Truth does not need to shout to be heard. It simply waits patiently for the right moment to be recognized. And when that moment arrives, those who once ignored it will be left scrambling, trying to catch up with what they should have known all along. But for you, the chosen one, this moment is just another affirmation that you've always been ahead of the curve. Patience is not something that comes easily to most. In a world obsessed with speed and instant results, waiting for something to unfold can feel like an eternity. Yet, for the chosen ones, patience is not a burden, it is a strength. The wisdom to wait, to allow things to develop at their own pace, is a rare and powerful gift. It's not about rushing to the finish line, but about understanding that the journey itself holds meaning. In those moments of stillness, when the world around you seems to be moving in fast forward, you remain grounded, knowing that all things happen in their own time. Perseverance, too, is a hidden strength that the chosen ones possess. Even when the world seems to turn against them, they don't give up. They understand that setbacks are a natural part of the process, and they keep moving forward with unwavering faith in their purpose. It is this combination of patience and perseverance that has carried them through the darkest of times. They have weathered storms, faced rejection, yet remain unbroken and resolute. This strength has been their guiding light through the hardest moments. It's not about rushing ahead, but about knowing that every step, no matter how slow, is part of the greater journey. The world may have doubted you, but now, as everything falls into place, They see that your patience and perseverance were the very things that led you to this moment of victory. You never gave up, and now the truth is yours to claim. It is a question that lingers in the minds of many. How did the chosen ones know? How did they see what no one else could? The answer is simple. They trusted their intuition, their inner knowing, and their unwavering belief in the truth. They didn't rely on external validation or the opinions of others. They listened to the quiet voice inside them that saw the bigger picture, the voice that spoke even when the world was too loud to hear. This inner knowing wasn't something they were born with, it was something they cultivated over time. They learned to trust their instincts, to observe the world around them, and to make decisions based on the deeper truths they saw. They understood that clarity isn't always obvious. Sometimes, it's hidden beneath layers of complexity, but they knew how to see through the fog, cut through the noise, and find the truth that others missed. Now, as the world catches up, it's clear that the chosen ones always knew. They were never lost, never uncertain. They held the key to the answers long before anyone else even asked the questions. And as the world awakens to the truth, the chosen ones stand as the quiet guides, the ones who saw it all coming. They always knew, and now the world knows too. Being ahead of the curve often means walking a solitary path. While the world around you continues its familiar rhythms, you are out of sync, moving at a pace that feels disconnected from everyone else. For the chosen ones, this isolation is a reality they've come to accept. It's a feeling of being alone in your understanding, of carrying a vision that others simply cannot grasp. There are moments when you wonder if you are too far ahead, if the distance between you and the world is too great to bridge. But in those moments of isolation, there is clarity. You see things more clearly than anyone else, and though it may feel lonely, it is a powerful form of solitude. It is a space where you can hear your own thoughts, realign yourself with your deepest truths, and see the patterns others cannot. This isolation is not a punishment, it is a gift. It allows you the space to think deeply, to explore new ideas, and to prepare for a future that others have not yet imagined. Being ahead requires patience and fortitude. It is not always easy to remain steadfast when no one else seems to understand. But eventually, that isolation will turn into admiration. The world will catch up, and what once seemed like loneliness will transform into recognition. The very distance between you and others will become a testament to your vision and your unwavering belief in what you knew to be true all along. The chosen ones are not just individuals walking a solitary path. They are the bridge that connects the present to a future that others have yet to see. People will come to them not just for answers, but for the wisdom that has been gathered through the years of isolation and personal growth. Being ahead of the curve often feels like a lonely journey, but this isolation is merely temporary. It is a necessary phase that prepares them for the greater role they are meant to play. The isolation serves as a stepping stone to becoming the guide, the beacon, for others who are now or will soon be ready to listen. They will come looking for clarity, direction, and reassurance that there is more to life than what they have been told. And the chosen ones, having walked the path of truth alone, are now ready to share the wisdom they have accumulated. There is a universal truth that cannot be avoided, no matter how much we try to deny it. At some point, the world will have to confront what it has been running from, an inevitable awakening. This awakening comes whether the world is ready for it or not. The chosen ones have always understood this truth. They have known, deep in their bones, that no matter how much people try to ignore, bury, or avoid it, reality will eventually make its presence known. The awakening is the moment when the fog lifts, when the illusions that once clouded our vision shatter, and when the truth stands tall, undeniable and clear. For the chosen ones, this awakening is not a surprise. It was always part of the plan. They knew that time would catch up to the lies, that eventually, the moment would arrive when the world would wake up to the truth they had been blind to. This truth, though often painful, is liberating, and it will force everyone to look inward and realize they were wrong. Witnessing others finally recognize what you've always known can be a humbling experience. It's not just a personal victory, it's a collective one. The awakening is the moment when people realize that the world is not as simple as they once thought. There are layers, there are truths, and there are possibilities that have remained hidden from them. The moment this realization hits, people will begin to question everything they thought they knew, every belief they had held as truth. They will look for answers, for clarity, and for guidance. And in this moment of chaos, the chosen ones will stand strong, unwavering and ready to lead. This is the moment they have been preparing for, even if the world didn't understand that preparation. The awakening is not something to fear. It is something to embrace, for with it comes a new beginning, a new world that the chosen ones are more than prepared to navigate. Their strength lies not in their ability to boast or claim victory, but in their quiet resilience and steadfast commitment to the truth. The chosen ones have never sought fame, nor have they needed to prove themselves to anyone. Their reward is not found in public accolades or in loud celebrations. The true reward comes in the silent victory of knowing that the truth has finally been revealed. It is the satisfaction of standing firm in what they believed, even when no one else saw it. The chosen ones didn't walk their path because they expected recognition. They did so because it was the right path. And now, as the world begins to catch up, they find that their reward is not a grand triumph, but a quiet sense of peace. A peaceful realization that they were always on the right side of history. This reward is not something they need to flaunt or boast about. The truth, once revealed, speaks for itself. Those who once dismissed them now face undeniable proof of the wisdom they carried long before it became visible to the world. For the chosen ones, the victory is also internal. It's about transformation. They don't just win in the eyes of others, they win within themselves. They find strength, resilience, and peace from knowing that they were guided by something greater than external validation. The true victory is not in the recognition they receive from others, but in the quiet confidence that comes from knowing they were always aligned with the truth. There was a time when others doubted them. People looked at their clarity with suspicion, dismissing their foresight as fantasy. Their ideas were laughed at, and their wisdom was considered naive. Yet, time has a strange way of shifting perspectives. Slowly but surely, the world began to change. What was once seen as impossible, what was once ridiculed, is now the very thing people seek to understand. The truth, once hidden, is now emerging, and those who rejected it are now forced to confront it. This shift from doubt to understanding is humbling for those who once dismissed the chosen ones. They now find themselves grappling with the truth they tried to avoid, and in doing so, they are faced with their own inadequacies. For the chosen ones, this shift is not about pride or gloating. It is part of the natural cycle of truth. It is not about proving anyone wrong, but about understanding that this is how truth always works. The ones who once doubted are now seeking the guidance the chosen ones have always offered. They come to them not out of obligation, but out of respect. They see the wisdom they have always carried, and in their search for answers, they come to realize that the chosen ones were never wrong. In a world overflowing with noise, distractions, and opinions, it takes an extraordinary amount of courage to stand alone. Society often equates acceptance with conformity, but the chosen ones are not swayed by the pressure to fit in. They see things differently, and they refuse to let the opinions of others dictate their truth. Their clarity is too powerful to be compromised, and their commitment to their path is unwavering. This courage to stand alone does not come from arrogance, but from a deep understanding that their path is the right one. Choosing to walk alone means enduring isolation, criticism, and misunderstanding. But what the world doesn't realize is that the chosen ones have never been lonely. Their strength lies not in the approval of others, but in their unwavering trust in themselves. It is in their solitude that they find clarity, and over time, they come to understand that their isolation was never a punishment, but a space for growth and preparation. Standing alone does not mean being abandoned. It means finding inner strength. It is the quiet understanding that, in time, the right people will come into your life, not out of necessity but out of alignment. The chosen ones do not seek validation from others. They seek alignment with their purpose. Their journey is not about popularity. It is about staying true to themselves, no matter the obstacles. The real beauty of standing alone is the deep peace that comes from knowing you are walking the path you were always meant to walk. The moment others realize the courage it took for the chosen ones to stand alone is both humbling and empowering. For the chosen ones, it is a quiet triumph. They don't need applause or recognition. They have already won by staying true to themselves, and in time the world will catch up. When it does, they will stand taller than ever, not because they have conquered the world, but because they have remained steadfast in their truth. In a society that often associates strength with loudness and aggression, the chosen ones embody a different kind of power, a quiet strength. This strength doesn't need to be proven through forceful words or actions. It is in the calm they maintain amidst chaos, the way they hold their ground when everything around them is crumbling. This quiet power is not born from external factors. It springs from an inner well of wisdom and belief in the truth. The chosen ones know that they do not need to prove their worth. Their presence alone commands respect. In a world that often values quick responses and visible action, they understand the true power of silence. Silence is not weakness. It is the strength that comes from knowing that the truth will always rise, regardless of the noise around it. When the world finally understands the depth of the strength of the chosen ones, they will see that the quietest voices often carry the most powerful truths. The chosen ones understand a fundamental truth that many in the world overlook. True power is not loud or boastful. In a society that thrives on noise and the incessant desire for attention, they know that silence often carries far more weight than any spoken word. Their strength lies in their ability to remain still, to observe and listen, quietly absorbing the world around them. It is in these moments of stillness that they find clarity and insight, seeing things that others often miss. This calm, collected nature allows them to navigate life's challenges with an unparalleled grace and ease, as they know that true strength is not always about action. Sometimes the greatest power is knowing when to act, when to hold back, and when to let things unfold naturally. In a world where everyone seems to rush toward instant gratification, the chosen ones understand the immeasurable strength in patience. They are not driven by the need for immediate results. Rather, they trust in their own sense of timing. They know that what is meant for them will not pass them by, and that every delay is simply a step toward something greater. Patience is not a passive virtue for them. It is a powerful tool, a testament to their wisdom and inner strength. Unlike many who are blinded by the desire for speed and quick fixes, the chosen ones recognize that true transformation takes time. They understand that forcing the process only leads to frustration and misalignment. Instead, they wait for the right moment, for the perfect alignment of circumstances, to take action. And when that moment comes, it will feel like a culmination of years of careful preparation, quiet resilience, and unwavering belief. While the world often fails to recognize the quiet power of patience, it is this very strength that the chosen ones will ultimately be celebrated for. They will not be lauded for flashy actions or overt displays of power, but for their ability to remain unshaken, calm, and composed in the face of chaos. Their silent strength, though invisible to many, will become the foundation upon which the world begins to rebuild itself. It is in their quiet resolve that they become the pillars others lean on, offering support when the world around them seems uncertain. This silent power will not be ignored forever. As time goes on and the world begins to awaken to the truths the chosen ones have always known, their patience will be seen not as a passive waiting, but as a profound sign of wisdom and foresight. In times of uncertainty, when the world feels chaotic and lost, the chosen ones are the light that others seek. Their light is not an overpowering, attention-seeking display. It is a quiet, unshakable glow that radiates from within. This light is a reflection of their character, clear, strong, and full of compassion. It is the ability to hold space for others, to offer guidance when there seems to be no way forward. The chosen ones have walked through their own darkness, faced their fears, and emerged stronger on the other side. They understand that darkness is not something to be feared, but something to be navigated. Only by embracing the shadows can one truly appreciate the light. This understanding allows them to guide others through their own struggles, offering hope and perspective when the world feels overwhelming. The chosen ones may not always be recognized for this light, but it is there, shining quietly in the background, influencing those who cross their path. It is reflected in the way they move through the world, in the way they offer comfort and clarity to those in need. And though this light may often be subtle, its effects are far-reaching. People who are lost, confused, or afraid will always find their way to the chosen ones, seeking the wisdom and guidance that only they can offer. As the world begins to recognize the power of this light, it will be seen for what it truly is, a transformative force capable of healing and leading others toward a brighter future. The chosen ones possess a unique ability to see beyond the present moment. They are visionaries, capable of seeing what others cannot yet imagine. They do not focus on short-term goals or fleeting desires. Instead, they think years, even decades, ahead. This ability to foresee what is yet to come sets them apart. While the rest of the world is preoccupied with immediate concerns, the chosen ones are already planning for the long term. They are planting seeds today for the harvest that will come tomorrow. This visionary thinking is not about escaping the present. It is about shaping the future. However, this path is not always easy. Being a visionary in a world that often prioritizes instant results can be isolating. The chosen ones are often misunderstood for their long-term approach, criticized for being unrealistic, or even mocked for their aspirations. But the chosen ones know that their vision is not about indulging in dreams or fantasies. It is about laying the groundwork for a better tomorrow. They understand that true progress requires patience, persistence, and the ability to ignore the noise of naysayers. Even in moments of doubt and uncertainty, their belief in their vision remains unwavering. They know that the road to greatness is rarely straightforward, filled with setbacks and obstacles. Yet, their commitment to their vision keeps them moving forward, step by step, knowing that the destination will eventually be reached. When others finally come to realize the depth of the chosen one's vision, it will be a moment of awe and admiration. They will come to understand that the chosen ones were not just dreaming. They were laying the foundation for a new reality. As the chosen one's vision begins to come to fruition, they will stand as the architects of a future that others will wish they had seen long ago. Their ability to see beyond the present, to understand the interconnectedness of all things, will be recognized as a gift, one that has the power to shape the world in ways that others never thought possible. Knowing the truth can often feel like a heavy burden. The chosen ones carry with them a deep awareness of things that others are not yet ready to face. They see patterns, connections, and truths that many either cannot perceive or are too afraid to acknowledge. This knowledge, while empowering, often leads to isolation and misunderstanding. The weight of knowing too much can feel overwhelming, especially when the world refuses to recognize the truths they hold. But for the chosen ones, this knowledge is not a curse. It is a gift. It is what allows them to navigate life with wisdom and understanding, anticipating changes and shifts before they happen. While others are caught off guard by the unexpected, the chosen ones have already seen it coming. They have known for years what others are just beginning to grasp, and it is this foresight that sets them apart. Though the world may not always recognize their knowledge, it is through their quiet strength, patience, and visionary thinking that they will ultimately lead the way, showing others what is possible when one dares to see the truth.